Hey guys, welcome back to Semojo Homestead. We are about to get some rain, but I hadn't been in the orchard for a few days, so I wanted to come check it out and bring you along. Sayla had asked me to take care of her flowers and cut them for her. I haven't been out here and it is very, very clear. They are just wild right now. If you can see them behind me, they are just going crazy. They definitely need to be deadheaded. So I'm gonna get out here and do that for her. I wanted to show this to you guys though. I don't think we've talked about this recently, but this is a hardy kiwi vine. We planted it, I think 2 years ago, and it is taking off. I think we have 3 of them that we planted and have survived. This variety of kiwi is a small, like hairless kiwi. Apparently, we haven't had any fruit off of it yet. Also, it doesn't need to have another plant to cross-pollinate, but we wanted more, of course, for more fruit. So it looks like it's doing really, really well. One thing I'm super excited about, I did see this a couple days ago when I was out here. Side note, it is crazy in the orchard right now. Jeremy hasn't had a chance to get out here and clear it up. So just beware. Just know what you've been forewarned, that it's wild out here. But I was out here doing a quick foraging for our rabbits. Our meat rabbits are forage fed. So I wanted to come out here and grab some stuff for them the other day. And I did happen to see that my mulberry tree is doing really well. I'm super excited. We have some new growth on it. Look at that. It's so happy. We do have a couple like dead pieces here, but we had some deer get to them, and those I think will be fine. We have lots of new growth, so I'm not worried about those couple little dead leaves, but it is doing really, really well. There's a ton of growth at the top, and we have a couple mulberries up there. I don't know that I'll be able to get to them, but we have some up there, so that's really exciting for us. If you've been following us, you know that I really wanted a mulberry tree. I started following a group, a homestead family that had one, and I just fell in love with it. And then we found one on the back property, so we got to transplant it up here where it could get some sun. So I'm super excited about that. Look at these apples. This apple tree is just producing a ton. I'm really hoping that we will get enough apples to make a good amount of applesauce for lunches. Really want to do better this year at making homestead snacky things that the kids can take in their lunch boxes. So we have a fair amount of apples on this tree. And we obviously use organic practices, so there are some blemishes and some spots where bugs got to them, but nothing that I can't cut out or that is major and ruins the fruit. I have to step over this pumpkin vine that Josiah planted. It is going crazy. It's growing really well. It looks really beautiful. The vine is in really good shape. It doesn't look like there has been any pest activity. I have not been out here to really check on it, so I'm excited to see that it's doing okay. I don't see any vine borer activity. Jess did say this particular pumpkin, she did not have any problems with pests. That's part of the reason why I've kind of left it alone, because she didn't have any problems. I figured I probably won't either. Y'all, our pear tree, something I think we had in one of these really bad storms, it snapped up there. I don't know if you can see that. So it is covered with pears. It'll be fine. There are plenty of other limbs and it'll just grow. It'll continue to grow well, but that is a pretty substantial main trunk. So it'll be fine and it'll recover, but that's a whole big section that's on the ground now. So we also have several pears on this tree. I really feel like between these pears and the apples, I'll be able to get a good amount of sauce, of pear sauce and applesauce. Really, if I use those little cups, like little plastic containers, the kids should have a good amount of pear sauce and applesauce to get them through the school year with in their lunches. So that will be good. Our blackberries are done. They're very much done. We did get a lot. I am hoping to make some blackberry muffins. The pumpkin that Joe planted and the pumpkin that we got from Jess, I want to use for some pumpkin muffins. So again, just thinking about that, those homemade snacks and lunch items that I can make so that they can have some good options for their lunches and some variety. We do have one pomegranate. When we first planted it, it was in a section of the orchard that just stayed too wet. It didn't like it. It didn't produce well at all. So we moved it over here on higher ground where it can drain. There's better drainage and it doesn't stay nearly as wet. The first year we transplanted it, we got 2 pomegranates off it. Ooh, that wind's coming in. It's getting very close to being ready. It's kind of more of a square shape now. The outside is getting tough and leathery. It sounds kind of hollow when you flick on it, but it needs to finish turning color. So once it turns a little more red, it'll be ready to go. Pomegranates are different colors. We know that ours is a little more red because we already harvested some of this. Not all pomegranates are red. So make sure you know what color your pomegranates are going to be when you plant the tree. That's pretty much the main planted intentional stuff going on in the orchard right now. The one thing I wanted to show you that we found, that we discovered, that I don't think we've talked about yet is this right here, wild spinach. And it's kind of similar, has the same look. There's a cabbage worm on it, but it's in the quinoa family, and it's similar to a lettuce. You can eat it raw and you can eat it sauteed, any way you would cook lettuce, but it is wild. It's almost like a gray blue color. I actually first identified it because it looks so much like quinoa, like the quinoa plant. I had Jeremy look it up. We actually planted quinoa on a whim when we were homesteading or learning to homestead. When we were in our patio home, I had a bunch of quinoa and we ate a lot of quinoa, and I just randomly was like, let's try to plant it, see what happens. And I grew quinoa in a little patio home with no backyard, and I separated it and all that. I mean, I didn't get very much, but it was a fun experiment, and it was a little empowering to know that I could grow quinoa in my little patio home. So that's fun, but that's why I knew, or that's why I was interested in this plant, is because when I was walking one day and I saw it, I realized it looked so similar to quinoa. And we've actually had our rabbits and chickens through here in the tractor. So I knew there was a good chance that it was something that was edible. So I had Jeremy look it up, and there you go. Oh, I haven't talked about this yet. I'm so excited about this. So growing up in California, my grandparents had 5 acres, and my grandfather had an orchard, a little mini orchard. We had a full nut orchard in the back, but close to the house, he just planted a bunch of different fruit trees, apples, citrus, a lot of what you see here. But the other thing he had that I didn't quite appreciate as much as I do now are persimmons. And Jeremy planted me a persimmon tree. And y'all, it is covered. I'm gonna flip you around and show you. So we have just a bunch of these persimmons growing. I grew up with fuyu persimmons. That's what we had in our yard. And I will admit, it wasn't my favorite fruit to go out there and grab off the tree and eat. However, when they get really, really ripe and really, really soft, you can make them sort of like an applesauce. Well, they're a lot better when they're really, really ripe and soft and almost overly ripe. They're good on their own at that point too. But you put some cinnamon and sugar and you roast them or cook them. Oh my gosh, they are fabulous. So while I didn't appreciate them quite as much as like the apple trees and cherry trees and mandarin trees and everything else we had on our property growing up, I am super excited about them now. And I'm so excited about all of them that we have on this little guy. I don't know. I feel very nostalgic coming out here and being with all these fruit trees. It reminds me so much of home. And while it is still young and these trees are still young and not producing a ton, there's such hope for the future. And we have a fair amount on these trees for what they are and for how young they are. And I just know that like each year we're going to get more, and it's so encouraging, and it really makes me want to plant more and grow more, because the longer these trees are in the ground, the more fruit we're going to have. And how cool is that we could produce all this fruit on less than 2 acres of cleared land. Like, that's all we have here, you know, like we're not living on 15 acres. We didn't clear all 5 acres. We cleared just over an acre. And it's just amazing what we've done with it. I got really distracted while I was talking. Look at this dahlia that Selah has growing. It's beautiful. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I love the colors. I love the colors in her garden. I actually wish she was here to see that. She would love it. I'll have to send her a picture. She's with my mother-in-law and all of the cousins. They're away for a week having what they call cousin camp. And she is having far too much fun to think about her garden, but I know she would love that flower. I was going to check on her purple dahlias, but they are so overrun with zinnias right now. I don't even know if I could get to them, but I definitely need to get in here and cut for her. I don't want her to see it like this. She'll be sad. I wish we got a few more peaches. We lost our peaches. Our peaches ripened, I think, while we were in Georgia. We got a couple off the tree, but we weren't able to harvest them all. So a deer probably ate them, or they fell on the ground. But overall, I'm super excited about this space. I know it's kind of in disarray right now and it needs some major cleanup, but there's such hope for this space and for all the food that it can grow. I really encourage you, if you are hesitant to grow fruit trees, or you don't feel like you have enough land for a mini orchard, I really challenge you to look into it and do some research. Jeremy's posted several videos about it. It's worth it. It's worth it to plant some trees and have your own little orchard. There's just something different about growing fruit trees. If there's something you want to grow, do it. Don't let space hinder you. Don't let doubt hinder you. Just jump in and try it. It's worth it. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for hanging out with me in our wild, crazy mini orchard. I hope you have a great week and be blessed.